And had Trump not won the presidency, he probably would be in jail right now.
That's a fact.
But by him winning the presidency, it saved him from going to jail, which it probably would have, had they tried to put him in jail, probably would have caused a civil war.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Darren Dickerson. We here with the man himself, Freeway Rick Ross. What up, Rick?
Hey, what up? What up, there?
How you doing, man?
Man, out there working, man, getting ready for this fight tomorrow night here in Cashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, talk to us about that, right? Before we get into everything, talk to us about what's happening with Country Box and Jimmy and what's happening in Nashville tomorrow.
Well, we had a few little hiccups last month. We had the big snowstorm, so that canceled the fight last week.
Definitely, that snow was
last
crazy.
month. Yeah, that snowstorm was crazy, man. Nobody's seen that much snow in a long time. So we also had to move to a new venue. We had outgrown that last venue.
Okay, so now where's the fight going to be at this time?
What's the name of the venue? The Plaza Mariachi. The Plaza Mariachi.
Well, that sound fly.
Yeah. We hooked up with a Spanish restaurant and a venue. So bigger place, more room. So everybody, you ain't gonna have to stand up this time. You have some places to sit. So first time there. And
wait. We gotta unpack that a little bit. So what you're saying is that the last fight was standing room only, right? And so people were complaining they want to be able to sit down and enjoy the fight. So now we moved to a bigger venue, right? You said yes. Plaza Mariachi.
Exactly.
Okay. In Nashville, and that's going to be tomorrow. That's February 3rd. You guys can also watch the fight on Little Rock IPTV. We definitely going to be streaming the fight. And so what were you guys doing yesterday? You was hanging out with some of the boxers?
Yeah. I interviewed some of the new fighters, man. Some interesting young men. We got one kid, 19 years old, from Milwaukee, man. This kid come down here by himself. He don't have the money for a coach and none of that. And these are guys I want to help.
Okay.
The guys that's willing to stick their neck out, and go out on their own, man. Me and Cashville Ace, we've been running around the city, man, pushing the brand, bed pain.
Right. Listen, man, shout out to all our folks in Nashville, man. D-Lens, the Shooter, Benny, Hunter, you know what I'm saying? They out there holding it down. And so tomorrow night, yup. And whenever you're talking about, I consider himself the mayor of Cashville, you know what I mean? Young Buck, always holding us down, Yellow Wolf and all those cats who've been making stuff happen for us. But Rick, man, I know you saw what happened right now with the bombing of Iran, man. And whenever
it's amazing. It's amazing we don't know the president, man. He's running the country like a king.
What's crazy though is that whenever the word Iran comes up, I immediately think about you just because you're, to me, in terms of as black men, you're one of the most culturally and significantly relevant men of the 20th century, right? Because so much of what you were involved with connects those dots that we don't really see, right? You can watch a snowfall and see that one piece, or you can see a Oliver North testifying about Iran Contra, right? Because there was a time that we was giving weapons to Iran. We were selling them weapons.
Absolutely.
And so, but for me, I don't want to get distracted. I feel like this whole thing is really just a big distraction from the Epstein files. And I wanted to ask Rick Ross, what you think?
Man, now that you mentioned that, because before Trump got in the office, he was pushing the Epstein files heavy because he wanted to implicate the Clintons.
But, right. The crazy part about it is that he was saying, sorry about that, y'all. He was saying that he was coming in the office saying he's gonna end all wars. He don't want to do no more wars. He don't want no more people dying and young people dying in foreign countries and the whole nine. And then he was also saying at the same time, simultaneously, he's saying, I'm not going to do no more wars, and we're going to release the Epstein files. Man, them Epstein files coming out. And so I know you're not familiar with the movie, but you saw the clip, the movie Wag the Dog.
The president has been caught dallying with a Girl Scout in the Oval Office. His team, led by Anne Hesh, hires the unspeakably cynical spin doctor Conrad Breen, played with chutzpah and flair by Robert De Niro.
The president said one thing: get me Conrad Breen.
This guy is Roger Stone, but dressed less like a Batman villain.
What difference does it make if it's true? It's a story and it breaks. They're going to have to run with it.
He replies to the accusations of sexual peccadillos by claiming that this has nothing to do with the situation in Albania.
Why is the president in China?
Trade relations.
And it's got nothing to do with the B-3 bomber.
There is no B-3 bomber.
I just said that.
What situation? What bomber? What? It's all nonsense, and Breen hires Stanley Motz, a Hollywood producer, to make his vague denials into a reality. They will produce a phony war to bring the president's approval back up in the 11 days before the next election.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm a publicist,
Absolutely.
as you know. My background is in media. Wag the Dog is a literal media and publicity term, right? To create a distraction. So what does it mean that the president is is willing to bomb a country, kill a religious leader to shift the narrative?
Same feeling. I had the same feeling that this war is going to take all the attention off of the Epstein files, and now it's going to place attention on this war. And you know that I was watching a clip this morning, and they say 3 F-16s got shot down over Kuwait. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that, man, like they've been bombing hotels in Dubai. I gotta call my homeboy, Gatsby Randolph. He's actually from Memphis, right? And he's living over in Dubai. So I'm trying to get a hold of him, man, because like they firing off missiles and rockets. But my thing is that everybody said this was gonna be like touching a radioactive wire. So my question is, right? When you know real money is involved, when you start hearing like Bill Gates had to come out and say something, right? Elon Musk, the richest men in the world, what will people do to hold on to their power?
Yeah. Anything.
So the idea that
And had Trump not won the presidency, he probably would be in jail right now.
that's a fact.
You know, but by him winning the presidency, it saved him from going to jail, which it probably would have, had they tried to put him in jail, probably would have caused a civil war. But you know, some of the stuff that he's already been accused of doing is I mean, you know, the riot at the White House, you know, I mean, it's crazy the stuff that this guy's getting away with, man. But you know, when you get the right people behind you, you know, you can literally do whatever you want to. You can rape and pedophile little kids and get away with it, I guess, you know.
Apparently, man, because you know, it's like now, and this is how much what I'm trying to show is how much the media is involved. I mean, it's a choice, the stories you lead with. It's a choice, the stories you continue to run back to back to back to back. Now, it does not mean that we cannot cover Iran and then make sure you come right behind that with a story on the Epstein files. But in order to shift the narrative, excuse me, guys, with background, in order to shift the narrative, the media has to be okay with letting it shift.
Well, you know, they're trying to get rid of the media anyway. All that free press and all that stuff, that's going to be out the window. You know, this country, I don't know. I don't really know where it's going right now, man. It's a weird time, you know. I just hope that people wake up and see what they need to be doing to rectify this.
You know, you touched on something very important because the new owners that are about to buy Warner Brothers already said they don't care about CNN. The CNN ain't worth nothing to them. But these are also the people who now own CBS and have been trying to take control of the media, right? Which is why Little Rock IPTV, UIN as a network, everything we're doing is so important, which is why this conversation is important. Because I do think that this is probably one of the only places that can connect the dots with people who have real information, right? So this whole conversation is putting the media in a place of making a decision of what are you going to be? Are you going to continue to cover for what this guy is doing? Because Fox News is turning on him. And a lot of the MAGA podcasters and a lot of, well, I won't call them MAGA podcasters, but the people who would say that the MAGA people follow, even Joe Rogan, a lot of those guys are now starting to look at this whole situation differently, just because the American people view it differently, right? So what do you think in terms of from the temperature on the street, right? So you a man of the people. Media is one thing. What's the energy in the street? Like, what's the average young black person saying about this, you think?
Well, the blacks have been against it. I mean, some of them are laughing because they feel that the Spanish people put him in, and then after he put him in, they deported him.
It's been a
So
cold world with that.
and blacks, they already been through all the slavery, the police harassment. This ICE thing really relates closely with the drug war that was so prevalent, in the black community. So the black community already felt it coming, and for once, I think that they're kind of prepared for the worst.
Facts. How as a black man who went through the because you were in old enough to remember the late '70s as well as the '80s drug wars and what it went into the '90s. The irony, because I grew up, right. I remember the cake cutters, the big picks that you could rate. You know what I'm saying? I used to want to have one in my back pocket. Right. I came in the house, my mama snatched me up, took that from me, and then told me, and made me read these articles about how young black men have been shot because they had something that looked like a handgun. Right. So
Yeah.
talk to me about the irony of hearing people talk about how the protesters in Minneapolis were shot, knowing that that's the same place that George Floyd was shot.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you know what? I really didn't look at it from that perspective. But yeah, that's pretty amazing that and Minnesota is one of the most liberal places in the country. In Minnesota, you still can pump your gas before you pay for it. So crime is not a thing in Minnesota. I'm gonna tell you, I've been there a few times. One of the smoothest places I've been in the whole country. I love Minnesota when it ain't cold. Um,
Here's what's crazy. I took my son when the last Super Bowl was in Minneapolis, right? I took my son there. We went there for a whole media week in Minneapolis. We did a whole thing with the Players Association. And the only reason we didn't stay for Super Bowl, it was so cold, right? We had the opportunity to go to.
I was there that Super Bowl too.
Yeah, and so, but in terms of the people and the environment, man, I was thrown off a little bit about how nice. I'm like, are they just being this nice because we in town for Super Bowl? And they were like, oh no, this is just how Minnesota is.
Yeah,
And so I was just like,
Minnesota's like that, man. But the people gotta wake up, because like you said, this country could be totally changed from what we grew up in and the way we like it right now. I mean, uh, what they call it, democracy. Hey, that
listen.
democracy that they all been talking about, could really be in jeopardy right now.
You know
Uh,
what's so interesting, man? I do believe this, right? That sometimes I believe God has to let people have exactly what they want before they realize how bad it is, right? And
yeah.
so that there are a lot of people who really was not listening to what we have been saying for a century, right? And finally, when we're in a position that is not affecting us the same, I realize that historically there was always a point where each culture pushed another culture up and pushed another culture up. I was always wondering, would it be that situation for blacks and Latinos? Or as much as we tried to stay like this, right? Trump created that such a separation. And the irony is that it lifted up true Americans, right? You got people online who call themselves foundational Black Americans, and I believe that started to resonate. And some of those people, they're not on either side, right? Now, some of them did vote with Trump, some just didn't vote at all. But what it created was a space to where the people who really thought once we get to power, we'll be able to, man, and they've been tearing it down. And so I'm more concerned that we're gonna end up splintered into all these little groups instead of us all coming together. Because I still haven't seen where the different minority groups have really rallied But I do believe that with this next election coming up, and we got election. Do you understand this election year, Rick?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I thought about that too. Where um, California may no longer support Texas, and Texas may no longer support Oregon, and so it's no longer the United States. Now it's the divided states, and I believe that that's what a lot of the communist countries want anyway. They want the United States to be divided. I watch, from being in jail, I read a lot of newspapers and I watch a lot of the presidents build up this army that now Trump has control over. Uh, and I don't think they built it up to be bully of the world. They really wanted to be strong so that nobody would attack them. But I think that uh, Trump is using it as the bully of the world, taking the most powerful army in the world, and now he's become the bully, um, going over, taking the president of a country out, saying that he sold drugs, like, wow, why would that guy need to sell drugs and he got the biggest oil reserve in the world, like, what would he be doing? He would have to be a complete fool to be selling drugs.
Man, speak on that, Rick. That he has some of the largest oil reserves in the world, but we took him out because he was trafficking drugs,
Yeah, yeah.
but we didn't seize any drugs.
Well, in the feds, they don't have to seize drugs no way. They just need to talk. If somebody say you sold drugs, that might be enough if they credible. What they call a credible
Wait.
witness.
Speaking as a man, did they ever actually catch you in possession of drugs?
No, they bought the drugs with them.
And so please share what the cops said that if drugs was in the car, what they say about you, Rick?
Say that again.
That the police was telling people that drugs was in the car. Where was Ricky?
Oh, I was outside the car.
You weren't in the car, right?
I wasn't in the car with the drugs. No. Oh, you talking about what the judge said when I went to court, when they took me back to court.
Right.
No. I went back to court and because when I got out, I got me a couple diesel trucks and my drivers just wasn't driving. I said, man, I could drive this damn truck and get rich in a couple months.
Right.
So I said, I went and got my license. So the PO said, we ain't letting you drive that truck. So I go back to court. I sent a letter to the judge, say, man, this PO won't let me work. So we go to court and the judge say, I'm gonna let you drive the truck, but we want to know what you gonna have in the back of that truck. And the whole courtroom fell out laughing. And then I told her, I said, well, Your Honor, if I'm riding in the car, ain't gonna be no drugs in it, no way. I'm gonna make sure that the drugs gonna be in the car in front of me.
No, man, but it really
Hey,
speaks to how what this whole thing speaks to is how much don't people really understand about how big money moves and how people in those high positions don't have to really get down in the muck with it.
no. No. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
No, they hire other people to do the dirty work. It's a thing they call, do you buy time or sell time? Rich people, they buy time.
right. And so
Poor people sell time.
So in linking this all together with the Epstein, because the one thing that people have been saying, which has been interesting, that Donald Trump has mentioned tons of times in there, but he's saying that he's not necessarily implicated for anything. And we're gonna put that to the side for a minute. Because the one thing that he said, and that everybody has said consistently, is that he's more worried about how many of his friends are implicated in this, right? Now, obviously, this was a big scheme. This was a big sex scheme. It was also a big money scheme, right? How many people are involved in an operation of that size?
Wow, who knows? That thing could be ginormous, to literally run a sex ring like that took a lot of effort from a lot of people and a lot of money. So um man.
Because I know this, right? When they're talking about how they had PR firms, they had travel agencies, and so I'm just looking at it like this. Let's just say, for example, you do have a PR firm that's just maybe they don't realize, are we just supplying models and we're doing the travel, the hotel, the food. I know that could be anywhere from 10 to 20 people just doing that piece, right?
Yeah.
And then
Right.
you got people on the ground who was drivers picking people up, food service people, like I think that what they're more afraid of is that all you need is that weak link. What happens when the government finds that weak link?
They take advantage of it. Just like anything else. Any animal in the jungle, when they find they always try to pick out the weakest one. And that's exactly what the government does. Take the weakest one and try to flip him to capture the rest of them. But they already took out all the people that was trying to solve the Epstein case, so that's over with. This is a ruse. They're not really trying to bring that out. In my personal opinion, that's a cover up that is really done for. And I don't think Donald Trump's gonna come out of office. I think that he's gonna stay there until he gets tired of being in the office or he died there.
Can I be honest with you, man? The one thing I've been tripping on is that we're really just 1 year, 2 months. We still got like.
Don't be surprised if he don't have all the Democrats locked up.
He listen, man. He is really trying to turn this whole thing into his private little fiefdom. And for
Not
people
trying, it's done already. The army moves when he say move.
That's true.
And Yase, what's his name? Yase Ben from Israel, may be the one turning all the switches. So let's see what
I'll tell you
happens.
like this. My personal opinion is the reason the old boy is pulling on the switches is because he got the files that Epstein gave him.
Hey, I'm gone, man. Let me go take care of my business, man. We got a lot of
Rick,
promotion
man.
stuff
Thanks
to
for the
do
time,
today.
bro. We tapping back in, man.
Hey, you crazy, man. You digging too deep, man. Good luck.
Hey, appreciate that, bro. Hey, this
All
is
right.
Darren Dickerson, Freeway Rick Ross, Discover Distrust. We'll be back, man.